Hi foodie friends, I'm Jessica with Savory Experiments, and today we are making chicken piccata. But before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to get all of our fabulous recipes every single Wednesday. Chicken piccata is bright, it's tangy, but it's also light and super easy to make, which makes it an excellent weeknight recipe. We're making ours with chicken today, but you can use beef, veal, pork, and I've even seen eggplant piccata, so feel free to use this recipe and switch it up. I'm going to use boneless, skinless chicken breasts. To start off, we want to make sure that they are tenderized, which is a manual tenderization. I've got the chicken breast. I'm going to use some cling wrap. You can also use parchment paper or wax paper. This is more just to protect yourself from anything that might be coming towards you. But the process of tenderizing has two purposes. The first is that it makes it an even thickness so that it cooks evenly in the pan. You don't want to end up with one side being super dry and the next side being undercooked. That's no good. Also manually tenderizes the meat, which means it takes the fibers and it breaks them down manually, something that would usually be done when you're chewing. This makes for super fork tender meat, even chicken, fork tender. Yes, you heard it here first. Get a meat mallet. I'm gonna use the flat side. They usually have these pokey sides too, but that's a little too aggressive for a piece of chicken. So I generally start in the middle and work my way out, and then, you know me, I eyeball it to try and figure out how thick we get it. We're aiming for about a ½ inch thick all the way around. So I'm gonna take a look. This part seems like it still needs a little bit more work. I'm gonna flatten that out this way, and then we'll be done with this piece. You don't wanna overwork it, because then you're just gonna have all sorts of pieces of chicken, and you don't really want that. You want it to stay cohesive. But as you can see, this fairly large chicken breast became even larger when we tenderized it. To work evenly in the pan and just be a little bit more manageable, I'm going to cut this in half, and I do it kind of at a diagonal. I do have clean hands, so I'm gonna go ahead and touch the chicken. And now it is actually the shape of a chicken breast, but a little bit more even. We have 2 portions here, which means we only need 1 more large chicken breast that we are going to pound out. Okay, now that I can feel the vibrations up through my face, I'm gonna cut this one in half. I'm gonna go wash my hands, and then we are going to season and dredge. Now that we've tenderized the chicken, we are going to season it and dredge it. I am going to use fine sea salt, and this is a pinch pot so that I can take my contaminated fingers and get them in and out of there and not contaminate anything else. Go ahead and do it from kind of a high angle. It more evenly salts it. And then freshly ground pepper. And yes, fresh ground pepper is better than the pepper you'd get pre-ground. That can sometimes lack flavor, taste a little bit like sawdust. It's great for cutting corners, but for something like this, where it's a really simple recipe, you want really good quality ingredients as well. Season it, and then go ahead and dredge it. This is just plain all-purpose flour. Get it in there nice and packed in. I like to give it a few taps. Turn it over and make sure it gets nice and covered. This is a light breading for the chicken instead of doing something like breadcrumbs, which you could totally do if you want something a little bit more crunchy. But the flour that comes off is also going to help thicken the piccata sauce. So it serves 2 purposes. Move it to another plate and continue with the rest of your chicken. I've moved over to the stove. We have our cast iron. It is preheated. It's important to preheat cast iron so that it's not cold. Cast iron is great because it has a nice even heating element, and it'll hold its heat while we cook the chicken and the piccata sauce. Now that we're fully heated, I'm gonna use equal parts, about a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. Butter has a low smoke point, so using it with the olive oil prevents it from burning and thus prevents it from burning our chicken. I have a really large pan here, so I can cook all 4 at the same time. But if you have a smaller pan, make sure you work in batches so that you don't overcrowd it. Overcrowding can lead to steaming, and no one wants that. It'll be uneven cooking with no crispy edges. We're gonna cook these for about 4 minutes on each side so they get a nice brown. Remember, brown equals flavor. These are looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a quick flip. Nice brown. Perfect. You'll cook them for about the same amount of time on the second side. So 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how large your chicken breast was. You can always pull out your digital read thermometer and make sure it's 165 degrees on internal temperature. Took our chicken breasts out. They were nice and brown. Remember, all of that equals flavor. We've got a little bit of brown bits in the pan as well, and that is fine. If your pan is dry, go ahead and add an extra tablespoon of olive oil. But as you can see, I have plenty left in mine for the shallots. This is 2 shallots, thinly sliced. If you really, really love shallots, go ahead and add a 1/3. They were pretty large, so I've got a good amount here. Move them around in the pan and scrape up any of those browned bits. Remember, those are little flavor bombs for our caper sauce. Try to get it into an even layer so that all of the shallots cook at the same rate. The shallots are gonna be the base for our piccata sauce. It's a light onion flavor opposed to a really strong pungent onion flavor. Gives it a nice essence without being overpowering. Give them a head start cooking before you add some garlic, which is also an excellent flavor in piccata sauce. You know me, measure garlic with your heart. I am using about 4 cloves. They are thinly sliced, opposed to being minced or pressed. Give them about a minute in the oil before we move on. You just want the garlic to soften. You don't want them to get too brown because then they get a little bit bitter. The key to a really good piccata sauce is white wine. Use a good white wine, something that you're going to want to drink. In fact, whatever you use in this sauce is probably what you're gonna wanna serve with your dinner. This is gonna be used to deglaze the pan. All of those brown bits that are stuck to the bottom are gonna suddenly release, and we're gonna scrape them up with our wooden spatula. Move it around to get all of the brown bits up. It won't take long for it to all come back to a simmer since it's such a small amount of liquid. We have low sodium chicken broth. We use low sodium to make sure that it is not overly salted, and we can salt at the end. Easy to add salt, not easy to remove salt. Let this come to a simmer, stir it all in again. Ooh, nice little sizzle. We're gonna let this simmer for about 5 minutes. Let the sauce reduce, get those rich flavors in, emulsify, and finish it off. It's reduced by about half. The wine and chicken stock is infused with flavors of shallot and garlic. And now we're going to emulsify it with butter. I'm gonna turn off the heat completely. Use about a tablespoon of unsalted butter and stir it right on in. This is gonna also help thicken the sauce, as will the flour on the chicken. This is about 2 lemons. The heat is gonna be just enough to start leaching the juice out of the lemons and make it bright and zingy with a really fresh lemon flavor, but also not be super overpowering. We have chopped Italian parsley. Parsley brings a nice fresh green element, but also an earthy flavor. And lastly, my favorite, capers. These are brined capers, about 2 tablespoons. They've been drained from the brine. Listen, foodie friends, I love capers. They're probably my favorite element of chicken piccata. So while most people, ooh, I'm splishing and splashing. While most people probably only use about 2 tablespoons, I would not be mad at you if you went ahead and doubled or even tripled the amount of capers that are in there. After this is all mixed together, I'm gonna add the chicken back to the skillet. Spoon the sauce over the chicken so that everything gets evenly coated. You might even want to flip your chicken around there. A quick little chicken flip. That looks great. All we have left to do is plate. It's time for my favorite part. We get to plate and eat. I am gonna serve my piccata with linguine. You can use your favorite kind of pasta. I find long strands of pasta best for this type of delicate sauce, but rice is also one of my favorites. So we've got our pasta, get a piece of chicken. Ooh, a little lemon hopping onto the plate there. And of course, the best part, the sauce. Get enough to cover the chicken, but also enough for the pasta. Put it on the sides there. Okay. And now we get to try it. Delicious, delicate lemon sauce with bright poppy capers, which are probably my favorite part of this. It is easy enough for a weeknight meal, but special enough for a dinner party. From my kitchen to yours, have a great day.